I myself, I want to be in a team where I enjoy myself, you know, like, and I think enjoyment and high performance go hand in hand. And sometimes, you know, when I look around, you probably see that as well. I said, it's too serious sometimes.
Okay, thank you. Let's jump in my favorite topics. Bonjour, this is a new episode today, a new episode of All the Talk, a special one for me, episode 61. I have a special guest, like I used to say. My guest today is the French swimming team director, French team director. His name is Jacco Verhaeren. How are you, Jacco? Welcome in the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I'm great. Yeah, hope you too.
I had to be very patient, like I used to say with all my guests, to get you, but finally we're here. On the 14th of July, this is the French special French day today. Are you in France right now?
No, I am in Eindhoven. I live in the Netherlands still, so it's not too far away. But no, I know 14 juillet. It's very special.
So I asked you before the interview if we could do it in French. I'm sure you could. I'm quite sure you could.
It would be a bit complicated, but I can do a little bit of one-on-one conversations with coaches and everything. I really enjoy it, but I'm not very strong at it, to be honest.
But maybe we do a next one in a couple of months or in a year, and maybe in French.
Yeah,
you never know.
Yeah, very good. You know, I love watching your videos. It's good for my French language development.
Thank you very much, Jacco. So, Jacco, we are coming out of the famous, amazing World Championship in Budapest. The French team did very, 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 very well. Right behind the Canadian team on the medal, the table medal. You know, we are right ahead of you in the Canadian team. But for the French team, I think it was, and that's the best World Championship result that any French team did, right?
Yeah, well, it's very close. I think I'm not sure if it's the absolute best, but it was very close, and you know, it was a bit of a surprise, to be honest. Like I think we expected to do well, but to come away with 8 medals in the pool and 2 more medals in the open water, I don't think there was that much expectation. So it's a pleasant surprise for sure.
If we have to start by a swimmer out of this meet, and there is a few that I want to mention, who would you like to start with?
Swimmers?
Yeah, in the French team.
Oof. Well, you pick one. You be the judge.
Let's start with, because I know I train, I coach with his uncle. I know very well his dad. His mother is the same age as me, and we swim in the same team in Clichy back in the days, in the 90s. I'm talking about Léon Marchand, of course, and I wanted to know now, you know, this kid is amazing. What he did was very surprising for a lot of people, for some, not at all. If I will talk to Bob Bowman right now, I will not be surprised about any of his result, I'm sure. Were you surprised a little bit about his level of performance?
Well, I think I've been in touch, obviously, quite a bit with Bob and with Léon, because the World Championships are actually the camp before, where you were as well in Canet.
Yeah,
that was the first time I met Léon face to face. But we had some contact, WhatsApp, Zoom meetings, those kind of things. And Bob was telling me like how well he was doing in training, and Léon sounded very excited as well. Well, then obviously we saw the NC2A performances, which I think were already a sign where he was going. So is it a complete surprise? No, but I think the level of his performance, particularly in the 400, was incredible. Like I don't think many people would have thought, I certainly didn't, that he would come so close to the world record.
What a performance on this race. Huh? It's the second world best performance overall, right behind Michael Phelps' world record. Wow, to me, that's one of the best races we have watched. We were lucky to watch at Worlds or to witness at World, right behind on the same level of our champion of the 200 fly. What's his name again?
Milak.
Milak.
Yeah.
Milak was amazing. I really enjoyed the 1500 on the last day as well with the Italian guy, and I don't want to forget the freestyler from Romania, Popovici as well, who was quite something. And that's another topic I like to touch with you, because you were a specialist of, you know, the 100 free, the 200 free. So you probably have some good comment to bring up in his race.
Yeah.
Wow, what a swimmer as well. So let's come back to Leon. That 400 IM was amazing. What did you think from watching him in the morning? Could you imagine after this race, because he swam with so much control in the morning, and even the 200 IM his semis was amazing as well. He didn't show much, and the time were still quite high level.
Yeah.
What do you think of his final at the end, his final time?
Well, in the 400, you know, what I really like about Leon's, but let's say Bob Bauman's approach, is that his swimmers, and that's what he's doing now with Leon, are incredibly good in setting up a great race. You know, you could already see in the morning the way he swam his first 200, 250. After that, he shut down. Not completely, of course, but you could already see what his intention was. And I really, I must say, I really love that, because that's what what I was trying to do with my own swimmers, was to, you know, set up a race really well. You know, like I always thought, like Peter and Renomi, like swim a race in the heats or in the semifinals. You don't have to go all out, but a race that you can use for when you're in the finals. So let's say swim 3/4 of the race like you want to do it when it really matters. And I think Bob Bauman, you know, also having had him on camp in Canet and seeing how they work and seeing how he talks to them and works pretty much year round, you know, it doesn't just come like that.
Yeah.
And then stick to that process of getting a great race together. Yeah, that's definitely one of his key strengths, you know, and he's now making this one of the key strengths of Leon as well. So it's brilliant to see that collaboration between a coach and an athlete. That's really what I love.
And he's just 19. That's what is very scary, you know, for this kind of swimmer. He's 19, dominating the 400 IM in the world right now. We know, and you know, that you're going to have a few swimmers coming up and challenge him.
Oh, yes.
In the next 2 years. There is always swimmers around the world who are born and are going to try to win as much as he wants to do. But I would say, when I look at him, and I don't know him very, very, very well, I know him a little bit, I would say that I feel like he's so much in control, and he doesn't, you cannot feel lots of pressure. It doesn't, I feel the right pressure. I don't feel the wrong pressure. I feel like he's enjoying a lot what he's doing. His confidence is very high. I can feel that. Yeah. And that show in the race. Do you think that he was as confident before he went to Bob, or this confidence was within him before, and he was a good swimmer before he left? Because I know Nicolas Castel is his former coach, and I know that he did an amazing job with him to set his base, his endurance base. We talk a little bit about that, and we try to talk about that as well. His base of training, and his confidence to me was amazing. He looked calm, in control. Even when you talk to him, I feel like he's very grounded.
Yeah.
What's your feeling?
No,
what's your
absolutely.
feeling about that?
I think you're absolutely spot on. You know, if you focus like that on how you construct your race and you're working year round, and obviously you need to be ready, you know, in shape and everything, but he definitely was, then you're in control, you know, and I think this is what you see with the great swimmers. It's not a surprise they swim well, you know, it's what they've been working towards. But then in the end, you know, they need to, well, show what they practice year round. And it's good you mentioned Nicolas Castel, because he's a fantastic coach, also a fantastic coach on team. And, you know, him and Bob worked together with Leon, you know, like they're really a team as well. Leon is now in Toulouse. He's training. He's doing he's going to do a competition in Spain, but just to stay busy. And then after that, he has a break, so he doesn't do the European Championships. But and so now he's coached by Nicolas. And I think I like to see that as well, you know, good collaboration. Obviously, he's done great work with Nicolas, because you cannot create a swimmer like that on that level in just a year. But no doubt, Bob has a magic touch and understands really well. He understands this event. He understands what's needed, you know, not just in the pool, but also around it to create that ultimate performance. So for us, it was fantastic to have him on team as well. You know, for me as a team director, it's brilliant to have coaches like that around who can inspire each other in talking about these things, you know, and some things seem very logical, but that doesn't mean it's very simple to do. And to see that in action, and for others coaches to see that as well, I think is brilliant. So that is also a little bit the atmosphere I want in a national team, is where coaches are willing to share with each other, because if you share, you get a lot back too. You know, like you grow together to a better level.
So from what I observe, looking at you in Cannes, and I was busy as well at World, so I wasn't like I could not really observe everything that I wanted, but I want to congratulate you first on the amazing World Championship from the French team. But something I think you did amazing and was very surprising is just talking about bringing Nicolas Castel, the former coach, in the team. It's not a lot of team director who can do that. He wasn't coaching him last year, and you consider that tandem, if I can say, very, very, very well. And you offered the opportunity to Nicolas to come in and even live the moment and even learn through that, and then being on the team with Leon. That decision came to you normally? It was something that someone suggests to you, or it's just something that you decided to do because it was so logical to do?
Well, with most of the decisions, you know, in a position that I have, you have to make a lot of decisions, pretty much every week, every day. This is one of them. But I do like to make decisions by consulting with a few people. You know, like I have Denis Auguin on the team. He's the head coach on the team.
Yeah.
I work with Olivier Nicolas. He's the team manager, but he was a coach as well, and he was working with the athletes and the coaches as well. Then just talking with the coaches. And then for me, the process works like they're giving me ideas. They're giving me their opinion. And of course, in the end, somebody has to make a decision. But for me, this one, especially this one, having Nicolas on team and Bob, first of all, it's a logical combination because we don't know, Bob is a USA coach. So next year or the year after in the Olympic year, he could be on the American team as well. And the aim is that whoever is on the team with Leon, whether that's Nicolas or whether that's Bob, that they know exactly from each other, this is how he prepares best, and that he feels comfortable with it. So it's really a deliberate strategy to do this, like, bring them together, work together. And for Leon, in the end, it should not make a difference who's there at that point.
That's very, very smart, and I'm not surprised about your answer. I had to ask though, but I'm really not surprised about your answer. You know, as a coach, as a head coach in Montreal here, and even when I was a coach, an assistant coach before, I always try to keep the global view, as we say, and the long-term view. Sometimes we get stuck with the picture just right in our face. That's not very good. But in the moment, sometimes it's very hard to get out of this. I have someone who really helped me out to mentor me and give me I have a lot of people around me. I think that we need a team. The team is very important. Those results are not going to come if you are not surrounded by the right people. Not be scared to ask and learn from different experiences, coaches. I have Claude Fauquet mentoring me since a couple of months now, and we're exchanging a lot. And what you are telling right now, it's right exactly what Claude is trying to force me to do more and more in every moment. Always keep the global view in mind. And you are aiming at 2024 Paris. That's the main goal from your position.
Yep.
And what you are saying is perfect because Bob Bowman might not be on the team, and having Nicolas could be different, could make a huge difference at the end, because Leon and Nicolas they know themselves very, very well. You know, they are very, very good. There is a very, very good connection, and you don't want to disrupt that. So no matter what happens, you'll be in a situation of winning. You want to keep that up, and congratulations. I think that's a very, very smart way, but I'm not surprised at all. You know, you have a lot of experiences, and I wanted to bring another stuff about Bob. If you have to pick one example, you know, during the competition where, because Bob coming from the US, you're European, so you know the French mentality, you know the French vibes, the French culture more than a guy from the US, that's for sure. Even if Bob now, I think I see him on Instagram, he's in Paris having fun, like visiting a lot and enjoying his life in
yes,
vacation,
exactly.
I think. But you know the French vibes, you know the French culture. And I think Bob was probably shocked by a few things. If you have to name one and something that it could really impact the team on the general organization, what would it be?
What, that Bob is shocked by the
I think Bob was a bit shocked by, okay, I'm going to go straight up because I have an idea in mind. So I'm going to go straight up with it. So let's say right after the final, the 400 IM, or I think the 200 IM, or let's say after the 400 IM, there were so many journalists, so many people around, and he is in business mode, Bob Bowman. And in the national team in the US, if you want to move to one winning event to another winning event, you have to keep that normal. You have to roll the story that you want to be in the right way, and you cannot let too much excitement into it, too much people from the outside get into it and cut that vibes. And from what I saw, I think he wasn't too happy about, you know, the presence and how the journalism and the TV and the process of moving to recovery and then moving to another race.
Exactly, yeah. But we spoke about that on the team before. You know, I dealt definitely also a lot with these things with the Australian team. You know, there's always quite a few journos. There's always attention for the swim team. And if you coach a swimmer like Leon, you know, he's not a swimmer who does one event. Potentially moving forward, he does 3 or 4 individual events, and he does maybe 2, maybe even 3 relays. Well, if you want to do that successfully, you have to be in this process mode where, you know, you go through the mixed zone, you do your interview, you give some attention, and you move out and you start working on your recovery and you start working on your next race. So you're absolutely right. We spoke about it before. It's obviously also good learning, you know, like for a swimmer, because coaches cannot come into the mixed zone, you know, as you know. So you rely on the swimmer, actually, the responsibility of the swimmer themselves to say a few words to the media and then say thank you and walk on. Like the absolute, I think, legend in that was, in fact, Michael Phelps. You know, he got attention all the time. But he was like incredible in that process. No doubt he has learned that from Bob. And this is also things, you know, we go through with the team to make that happen, because, you know, every time we speak about Paris, you know, the Olympics are in Paris. If a swim team does well in Paris, you can imagine how much attention they will get. but we need to protect our performance. It's not that we don't want to talk to journalists. On the contrary, actually, the attention is great, but you're there to do a job, and you cannot turn that around. You cannot, if you spend 1 hour in the mix zone with your lactate up there, and you have to, even the next day, they walk into the pool and they feel like, oh, I'm a bit sore here. And it's probably, you don't even feel it in the first 2 or 3 days. But if you're swimming such a massive program, in your last relay or in your last 2 events, it will make a difference, and we're in a sport where usually the differences are very small. And these are the differences that actually make the difference in the end.
In the US team, they get used to that. I talk a little bit with Fabrice Pellerin about Camille Muffat back in the day, where she won the 200 free, and she was supposed as well to win the 400 free because she was a favorite in that event. And I think that he told me that the excitement right behind the 200 free was so big that she totally could not move to the 400 free like she did in the 200 free. And I think that in the US, when you win, it's normal, and you just move to business and try to win again and win again and win again. In our culture, and I say our, I'm talking about the French culture, it's when you win, it's like, wow, we won, and everyone is excited, and you are trying to create an environment where you still want to win, but you want to be consistent in your winning, on the winning aspect. And I think that the fact that Leon is in the US might help him along the way big time, because the pressure would be away. He's based in the US now, training there. He won't be bothered too much by the journalist or every solicitation that he could have around. What do you think about, how do you see that? Do you agree with what I'm saying? Because I think that it's going to be.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm very fortunate, that I was able to work and learn a lot over the 7 years in Australia. Like when I started that role there, you have to first transition yourself from being an on-deck coach to team director or head coach, so your role changes. But what it does now for me is that I've learned to understand, where in this role you can make a difference. And it's in these things, I think you can make a difference by talking about these processes, by actually creating these processes. Again, in the end, if an athlete decides, I'm going to stand here, I'm going to take it all in, and I'm going to stand for 1 hour in the mix zone, it's a problem because we cannot get him out of there. But this is what you have to learn your athletes as well, not just to swim fast, but to deal with an Olympic village, to deal with distractions, to deal with disappointment, to deal with not sleeping too well, to deal with many food choices you have, so we speak a lot about these things. That our job as coaches is not just to make people swim fast. Of course, that's incredibly important, because if you don't that, you're not on a team. But then after that, the whole thing starts again. And the higher the level of the athlete, the more important that becomes. The more events you raise, the more attention you get. This was for me working with Peter, for example, when we went to Sydney. Before Sydney, well, some people knew him, but it wasn't a big deal to manage all that. The second time in 2004, when you're the defending champion, it becomes a lot more challenging, because it's not just in the meet, but also before the interviews, the commercial element of it, the attention, all these things. So this is, I think, where me in my role, I can help coaches a lot, or facilitate them the best way I can, to protect that process. I don't have to tell coaches how to do their job, not at all. But in this way, this is why I like to be a team director. You would say maybe what's in the name, but head coach, I'm not coaching. I'm running a team to try to be as efficient as possible, to have a good dynamic, to have a good structure, to have, that's how I feel my role.
I want to talk about, and I will come about. We had some amazing talk in Cannes. I want to thank you for that. I really enjoyed some time that we spent together and talk a little bit. You know, I'm very curious and I like to ask. I'm not scared to ask questions. But before we get more into that, I like as well to talk about your two flyers. There are two women who did exceptionally well at World, and I would say flyer and freestyler for Marie Vatel and flyer for Melanie Ionescou. What can you say about those performances and Marie come back at this level of performance 2 years before the Olympics?
Well, I think that's good as well. I think for Marie, the year has probably been challenging. You know, you move, she trained in Loughborough. It's very difficult for me to comment on what happened before Tokyo because I wasn't there with the French team, but I definitely saw a transition there, you know, moving to another city with another coach, getting used to a different approach, because no doubt the approach of Julien Jacquet is different to what happens in Great Britain. So to go through all that and then in the end swim your best time or very close to it in the final and make a medal, I think is great. And of course, it's a very different situation for Melanie. But definitely Melanie had her big challenges this year as well. And I'm always just, you know, what I really enjoy in my job, I enjoyed it as a coach as well. It's not so much thinking about the medals or the results. Yes, of course, we all want that. We all dream about that. But to see people actually accomplish something, you know, whether they have challenges or not, really going for it, trying to improve themselves, trying to do these things. And this is also definitely what I saw with Marie and with Melanie as well. They've accomplished what they wanted to accomplish. Well, of course, you could say, well, maybe it should be gold instead of silver and silver instead of, you know, like that's all possible. But I think they can be very proud of that. And that is really how I want to look at sports, at swimming. It's yes, of course, we want medals, we want great results, but we're working with people, you know, and people accomplishing something, people putting all their energy and their passion into something they want to achieve. I think that's the most rewarding we have in our job.
You know, I am going to invite Melanie soon on the show. I'm aware of her story. Melanie's journey is an amazing journey. She has been through so much in her life. A few people know what she has been through, but wow, like lots of respect for her, a lot of respect for Mary as well. I know her a little bit less, but I can see that she has amazing potential. She is a very good person. She can feel her hunger as well. The level of willingness. But Melanie's story, wow, like I don't want to talk about it now, but we could talk about it for an hour. But I will have that interview with her soon. And you know, she is such a great person, and she has been through so much. And having an athlete right now, we went through from some hard time, and I think that's what I'm trying to get out of it is the level of resiliency we can develop from different experiences, the road to a success, or the journey we are trying to go through as a coaches and athletes. We're going to have struggle. We don't really know what is going to be sometimes, but we have to try to keep, as I say, the global view before and try to turn that out in our advantage. And I think that Melanie Ionescou is a great example of that. And I was very, and I don't know her like her coach, or I don't know her like I know my swimmers, but I was very touched by what she accomplished, knowing her background and how difficult it was for her to get back 11 years after her first medal at Worlds. You know, so that's an amazing story. I would say, like, you know, there is Bob on the team. There is you, obviously, with all of your experience. There is Philippe Lucas with all of his experience now. And you have a couple of young coaches coming up, Mathieu, Julien, Nicolas. I'm sorry if I forget some names, but they know I think about them.
Yes, exactly.
You know, and some of them are good friends, and we are connecting and we exchange a lot. What would you, how would you see, and did you expect that team environment? That's because I see the coaches being being together very well, like Michel with his group as well did amazing well with Maxime
Yeah.
Rousset, because I don't want to forget Maxime. He was amazing as well. This 103 was crazy. The 50 was out of expectation for a lot, but I think he nailed it. He really nailed it, and he opened up
Absolutely.
other perspective for him on the 103 as well, because that speed going to help you out to give you a lot of option to go faster and faster. Were you surprised about that kind of atmosphere between the coaches in the team?
Not surprised, but I was really hoping for it. You know, like when you start in a role like this, I always prefer, because you know, to know not too much in advance. Before I started in France, I really didn't study the amount of talent they possibly had, or because you know, some people, when you go to a role like that, I had the same experience with Australia. They say, "Ah, what are you doing? You know, it's a mess. It's not going well." It's yeah, but it's my job. You know, like it's dealing with stuff like you say, like you know, things will happen, and it's not always nice, but it's how we deal with it. You know, like and this is I like a good challenge also in my job. And now here with the French, yeah, we definitely spent some time in talking about about what our team needs to look like. This work is not finished yet, I must say. Like it's already good, and I can see the dynamic has changed. But we have to consolidate it, and I think we can even become a lot stronger. I'm not talking about performance now, well, performance too, but more about the dynamic in the team, the trust in the team, the collaboration, the sharing, all these kind of things. And yeah, so we were definitely as a team aiming for this. And then it's great to see that it actually unfolds that way. But it's a little bit easier, and that you have to admit as well, it's a bit easier when things are going well. You know, when you're performing, to maintain a good level of team and team dynamic, it makes it a lot easier. So we need to be a team as well, that when because I'm sure we will come across some challenges and some downs as well. But then still, if you keep the team dynamic up and you keep working like you do when you have success, working together there, that for me constructs a real team. Yeah, in a team, and I'm sure in the Canadian team as well, and in any team, you know, you have your ups and downs, you have your great performances, but you also have these individuals, you know, well, it's simply not happening in that meet. And as long as they feel respected for their efforts, so I'm trying not to make a too big difference for somebody who wins a medal or who doesn't. Like, you know, of course, when somebody wins a medal, you celebrate, but I also celebrate, you know, if somebody puts in a great effort and just gets fourth or just misses a final, you know, these things happen. It's high performance. And I think when you take away a little bit the pressure of only looking at medals and only at personal best times, there is so much more that you can control and that you can actually enjoy on the team. And that's another thing, you know, I myself, I want to be in a team where I enjoy myself, you know, like, and I think enjoyment and high performance go hand in hand. And sometimes, you know, when I look around, you probably see that as well. I said, it's too serious sometimes.
Okay, thank you. Let's jump in my favorite topics. You know, I observe you a lot. You know, I love to watch. As I said, and I know that you did a lot of observation. You did watch a lot and try to be from the outside and look at the body language of people, how people are interacting, even even other swimmers or even other team. I'm sure you do that very, very, very well. But to me, as you say, there is a word that you say which is really, really big for me. Say enjoyment word. And for me, like happiness don't come with the success, it come before. If you have to be, your performance have to be great, you have to be happy in your life before, and then everything will come. Me, I'm coming from the Ivory Coast. I was born there. I've been raised in France at the age of 13 or 14 years old, but I really enjoy the moment, the present. I know I'm lucky to be in the position that I do. I know how lucky I am to do the job that I do. Every morning when I get into the pool at 4:45, 4:55, like I almost have tears in my eyes because I look at the pool, I say, wow, man, this is why I'm coaching right now. This is, I have to embrace that. You know, it's not nothing. I'm getting paid to coach. That's another privilege, I think. And in the water, considering what's going on in the world everywhere, we are pretty privileged to do what we do. So you have to be happy. You have to be happy, and he has to show for me. And I think that I have to learn as well how to read the happiness in a different culture. I'm going to be Canadian soon, officially.
All right.
It should come very, very, very soon. It's been 20 years and I'm living here. And, you know, there is different culture in Canada. As you know, there is a Quebec and there is the English sides. Me coming in with my Latin blood and my African blood brings, I think, another vibes or another energy. And I have to learn how to read the joy and the level of happiness of other guys, because we are not the same. We are not the same in the expression, in what how we live the moment and everything. But I don't want to change. I think it's very, very important to enjoy and be happy. And this is what I think with you was always amazing. Even if I know probably you are not expressing everything, sometimes it's tough inside, but what I see from you, the body language is always positive. You show always a nice smile. You look pretty happy as well in what you do, and that play a major role in how you can impact people around you. And I'm sure the swimmer you had to coach, the team, the different people around the team that you have to deal with, like touch and learn from your body language and your joy and your happiness. And I think it's very, very important. And we don't talk enough about this. You know, when we talk about an organization, we talk about we're doing this, is that. But how do you keep them happy? How do you keep that level of creativity, make that enjoyable for the swimmer every day? You know, and even if it's not going to be easy every day, how can we as coaches, you know, keep that balance? And me personally, if I lose that level of happiness, I will not do that job anymore. I think that's
I think, you know, and this as well, I started coaching. I started dreaming about being a coach when I was 14 or 15. I wanted to become a swim coach. I don't know why. I did swim myself. I wasn't particularly good, but I really enjoyed what I was doing. And out of that passion, really, that goes beyond enjoyment, I went to study, become a coach, and took things from there. But yeah, I think, and you're absolutely right. Sometimes the enjoyment part is underestimated, because enjoyment is being seen as not serious enough, or not hard enough, or not tough enough. But you can be very tough, you can train very hard, you can train very serious, and still every day at some points have a smile on your face. And also, I think it's also okay if for a few days you don't have a smile on your face. You know, it's life, it goes up and down. It's not that I need people to laugh every day or whatever, but it's more really the intrinsic, the passion, the enjoyment. And well, you've seen us in the camp in Canet. You know, we had one evening, we put up a barbecue. The team captains, Florent and Melanie, they decided that the newcomers needed to sing a song or perform something, you know, and then they asked me to do it as well. Well, there's I'm not a gifted singer, to say the least, not at all. But you know, it's just good fun to be, and it doesn't take anything away from being a very serious and dedicated and committed athlete. And I think sometimes people struggle to, or at least they feel like if I'm not showing my serious face every day, I'm not serious. But I am, and you are, and a lot of coaches, we're all dead serious. You know what you're saying already. Yeah, let's be honest, it's not normal. You're talking about 4:45 in the morning going to a pool like this is normal. It's not. You know, so you have to be, for starters, you have to be a bit crazy to do this. And yes, the passion and the commitment, but then find ways to stay creative and have the enjoyment for yourself. And this is definitely also, you know, in my role, I'm seeing myself as support or coach or facilitate coaches. And I'm always talking about these things, you know, like when do you take a break? I even have them in the year planning. I don't write down what the training phases are, you know, that's the coach's job, and we can always talk about it. But I also like to talk about when they don't swim, you know, like, and that means when athletes don't swim, that the coach needs a break as well. I think we need a lot more attention to the job of the coaches and how they actually balance their life. When I was younger, I can tell you I wasn't very good at it. You know, but I enjoyed what I was doing. I didn't care. But when you get older and you want a bit of longevity in your career, you need to balance the life. You know, I see it now with the Australians. They're now 10 or 11 weeks in Europe to do a World Championships and a Commonwealth Games. It's their passion, it's their enjoyment, but let's not say it's not normal. It doesn't have to be normal, but in that time, you have to find time to enjoy yourself. You cannot be just all the time full on. You know, you will create problems for yourself, but even for your athletes, if you don't find a way to relax and enjoy sometimes.
Yeah, it's important. It's very, 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 very important. And I always tell my friends, people who are really close, if they see me lose who I really am, I think I'm a very happy guy. If I lose that, I told them to snap me on the head, you know, like to make me react, because I don't want
exactly.
I don't want to lose that. It's very, 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 very important. So I start off before we start to record. I was telling you that, wow, I'm coming back from the world and I have to deal with the club, and now I'm coming back to another competition, and that's a very tough part. And I didn't manage my year very, very well, but that's my choices, and I'm learning a lot. It's the first year as a head coach in a big team in camo natation in Montreal. I think last year will be very different, but I learn a lot from this, and the mistakes are there to teach us something, I think. I'm not saying that I make big mistakes, but I always say that the season plan is good for the swimmer, but it's good for the coaches, as you said. You know, you want them to be at the top shape at the end of the season. That's the same for us. We have to be as good as we were in the middle of the season or at the beginning, or even better. And we have to manage it the right way. And the season plan is very, very important. And I always start the season plan with my transition week, where I'm going to put the transition week, which are recovery week, off week, and everything, because I want them, like you say, to enjoy and take a break and come back even stronger and with even more anger in what they do. We cannot talk about all the French swimming and French result. You did amazing result in the open water. Congratulations on that. Congratulations on Stéphane Lecade and Ad on the show as well.
Is doing that work. Huh? Like I think, and I must say as well, you know, the result of the French swimmers, I think it was fantastic, and again, the team was fantastic as well. But these results I've started this job in September. Well, I can tell you it's impossible to have such a result without them doing a great job already long before I was there, of course. Like you cannot just say, well, I'm coming in and now they have great results. No, it's the work of all the coaches, and the work for years. Like Marie didn't learn to swim when I walked into the country. The same for Maxime, the same for Leon, the same. So it's all their work accumulated that has ended now or ended. We're just starting, but it has come to this result.
Aurélie Muller, Axel Raymond, Aurélie Muller-Tremblay is amazing. All the younger swimmers coming up. I mean, you have a massive team, and I think your humility and your enjoyment will make, I think, a huge difference in that process. It's very like, I enjoy really being on your side in Canet and observe all of those stuff, and I learned a lot. And I think that the French team is going to keep improving. And Paris 2024 will be amazing. My goal with my athlete is to be part of this on the Canadian side in 2 years now, and obviously, hopefully, we should make it and have even good moment to share and good discussion that we could have. We mentioned a lot, and I want to move on to another topic. And I asked you that question in Canet. You worked for Australia during 7 years, and I know that when you arrived there, it wasn't easy. You had to change. You made a lot of different change. Stuff were done a certain way. There were a different culture there, and you brought up stuff. I ask you if you had to describe the difference of culture between Australia, French, and Netherlands. Would you be able to give me, I know you gave me that answer, but I'd like to share that with more people now, if you can do that.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I always need to say we have more things in common than differences. But of course, there are cultural differences, and to generalize it, I think with the Australian team, I honestly, from the beginning, it was a different time for me as well, because I was transitioning. So I had to learn what to do as a team director first, really. Of course, you have an idea, but, I've started now my role in France with experience. And that's an experience I didn't have in the first 1 or 2 years in Australia. But I think the big thing there was I needed them to relax a little bit more on the rules. It's probably Canada as well. The Anglo-Saxon nations are big on rules and regulations, and this needs to happen and that needs to happen. With the French, it's more loose. So in one country, you have to work a little bit more, let go of the structure a little bit, and let the creativity flow a little bit more. I think that creativity and that flow is already there in France. And there you have to regulate things a little bit more. So create a bit better, like the team structure and what is everybody doing on team, the meetings we have to work together, the work we do together. So if I should describe it, it's in Australia from the beginning, it was more strict and I had to untie a few things there. In France, it's the other way around. But then you do this with respect to the culture. I've learned that now, but the French flair is very important.
It is.
And to be honest, I enjoy it as well. Like I love it. Like it's a good, way of having fun and doing high performance. And it doesn't get in the way of each other, and that's maybe where you need a little bit more structure, but that's fine. But without getting rid of the French flair, because it's actually a weapon. It's fantastic to have it.
Yeah, it's part of it. It's part of the culture.
Yeah. So yes, there are some differences. I think the Netherlands sits a bit in the middle, like we as Dutch people are very we're trying always to be very efficient. And I definitely bring this in the role as well. Like that's a difference. Well, you know this better than I do, but the French like to talk a lot. And the first meeting, my meetings are like, I have an agenda, it's prepared, and there will be an outcome, which is not always guaranteed in France. But I can bring that, and I can learn myself then to sometimes let it go a little bit more. Whereas when you do meetings in Australia, it can be very, very formal, you know, like, or very political, if you like. We're coming from the Netherlands. I'm pretty aware now that we are sometimes, I think, being seen as rude, you know, very direct. Like it's like this, it's like that. It's so I'm learning a lot from both the cultures. On one side, to be a little bit more political, to have a little bit more patience, because that's not how we Dutch people are. You know, we don't have a lot of patience, and we want efficiency in everything we do. And now, you know, well, I'm almost 10 years not working. Well, I'm actually 10 years not working for the Netherlands now. So I've learned that I can manage things better by sometimes letting it go a little bit and forget about the efficiency, but still it's there. You know, it's the culture you bring yourself.
You know what I love with you is I feel like you really enjoy the learning process. I feel like you are blessed. I mean, there is no envy there. Okay, that we are living our life, we are living our journey, but observing different journey of other people is beautiful. And you always, I think, you are the same man, happy and everything, but you become even more complete with all those experiences. And I don't know what kind of team director or coach, if you want to coach back in the future, I don't know, you could be, but you'll be better for sure, because you have so much, you learn so much from different culture and different experiences that.
Yeah, I was actually, you know, just to give an example, this morning I did a presentation for football coaches, soccer here in the Netherlands, like a second division team. It's a professional organization, like it's a real professional, like they have many coaches and you know, in season every week they play a game, and there's money and there's players being sold and bought and everything. But you know, and that's where when I'm standing there, and that's when I feel very, very privileged, you know, because I'm not going to give their representation to, you know, to just, you know, let people know what I know or what I've learned, but you're always getting things back. So it was a real conversation about, in this case, about talent development. What do you guys think is important? An individual sport, swimming, versus a team sport, soccer. But then you start talking about it, and they want to know more about individualizing programs. We want to know more about creating team atmosphere. So, and this is just one example, and this is where I feel so happy that you can actually, you know, because of what I do and all the years I've spent in swimming, I'm able to sometimes go to businesses and talk there and learn from their managements and leadership styles or finance or whatever it is. And on the other hand, well, this morning with a professional soccer team, well, it's fantastic. And every time you take a little bit of knowledge or an experience where you think like, and I think in the end, well, at least it goes for me, I can't talk for others, but I think it's almost for everyone. You enjoy when you're learning. When you feel you're growing, you enjoy it a lot. When I started my career like 30 years ago, when I started coaching, I was very programmatic, because that's what I've learned. You know, I've learned the physiology, the biomechanics, you know, how to swim, the technical stuff, something about nutrition, about strength, but I was very programmatic, planning and program. And then 10 years later, I was becoming more, because I had to, with a swimmer like Peter and Inge and Ranomi, I had to reinvent myself a little bit, create more of an understanding for the people in the pool, you know, like not just the program and trying to get people in shape, but also balancing their lives, you know, or trying to help them balance their life, understanding the pressures as Olympic champions they are on, what they are dealing with and everything. And then the last 10 years and what I'm doing now, I feel I get a lot of opportunity to develop in team and leadership and working together. So it's almost like every decade, and now a little bit, now I'm starting to feel really old, by the way, but
no, you're not. You're not.
like 3 decades, and every decade seems, in hindsight for me, have to have a little bit of a theme, from physiology program to people to leadership and team dynamics, you know, and that is the journey. And you're absolutely right. Let's say for me, as long as I'm learning, I'm enjoying it. Like, you know, just to take it all in. And sometimes it's just a little thing, like, you know, from somebody who is a great entrepreneur and tells me about his or her journey. And I think, oh, wow, why don't we do this in swimming? Or why do we do this differently here or there? So that mix of experiences, I think is absolutely good. And this is also why, you know, I loved coaching. I still love coaching.
Do you miss it?
When you're coaching athletes, you're very focused on your athletes. So you're in danger of getting a very small world. And with my role now, I can move back from the deck a little bit. So I'm better able to help people and you know, keep that overview a little bit more and be more open for different information.
Do you miss coaching?
Yes, what I don't miss is the consistency of 10 times a week. and you know, the pressure of delivering a program or 2 programs every day and then individualizing it. I love that process too, but it's also a pressure, you know, because on Sunday afternoon, you're already starting, you know, to create the first half of the next week. So you can never switch off. As a coach, I always felt, or at least I find it very difficult to switch off. And in this role, it's always here, but it's easier to switch off, which again, in the end, makes you better in leadership. You know, this is where there's a lot of talks. And I even sometimes feel, and this is really the sports attitude, that people are afraid to say that they do switch off and that they need to switch off, you know, because it's not seen. Again, we're the victim of our own attitude, you know, like, no, I need to show that I'm committed. I need to show that I work hard. I need to show this. And so, no, you need to show that you're, first of all, looking after yourself, because if you do, and you feel good, you can look after other people. And it's in sport, well, it's in business as well, you see there as well, but you know, we need a lot more attention for that, because coaches become better. I've seen it, I've lived it, when you are able sometimes to switch off, and when you are able to make some different choices. And for me, the whole work with the coaches is really more about that part. How do you develop and how do you find balance? And not that I've done everything right in my life in that perspective, not at all, I would say, but by getting those experiences, I feel I can pass on and hopefully accelerate that a little bit with other coaches.
You know, you use the word creativity a lot as well, and creativity is a mantra word for me. I mean, creativity is a part of what I do, what I love. This is what I love so much, this job. To me, this kind of hard work, you know, it's we have the honor to the I would say not the honor, but like I must create as much as I can for the swimmer to not be bored, and me as well. And what I do is, here is a book, but every year I throw my training book away. I don't keep anything. I give, I have to give, I don't keep it, because I want to I want to keep my mind fresh and creative and learning and changing. And you know, of course, I learn I have basic stuff that I love to do, but I always looking for a different approach and try to bring or teach on a different way. And that comes with, and we could talk about that for hours, but for me, I try to respect the personality of the swimmer. who they are or the athletes. When I mean personality, everyone swims differently because they have their own personality. You should be able to see from Peter van Dugenband when he was swimming who he is. Should be able to see when you see a Roland Schoeman swim like he was, who really is this guy at this moment of his life. The same for Anthony Irvine, the same from all of your swimmers in the French team. They have to swim like they are. I think that's something that I really embrace to do. It's not very easy because in a huge group of training, it's very hard to do, but that's a challenge. We have to respect who they are. You cannot teach someone to swim like another.
No. It's funny, by the way. I need to show you this. Like I'm in my office in Eindhoven.
Go ahead.
And I'm showing you like this here on the floor because I'm just here. Can you see this?
Yeah.
So these maps. This is 23 years of programs. So I don't throw them away. So this is my archive. I didn't throw them away because it's like it's almost like your child, right?
When I say I'm throwing them away, I don't look at. I have some books that I keep, but I'm trying to move forward, and I barely open those. Sometimes when I know there is some swimmer in every group who take notes in everything. So I'm gonna call a swimmer that I had 6 years ago. Hey, Justine, do you remember that set that we did? And she could give me back like the set exactly even better than what we did, But it's very nice to see that you keep those programs behind you. When was the last time you dig in?
That I looked at it.
Yes.
Oh, that's a long time ago, because I've actually just moved into this office or a year ago, and these were in our attic. So for 10 years I hadn't seen them at all. But it is fun. Let me show you. Like just really when I started. Well, let me see, because it has all kinds of. Because like when I started coaching, we didn't really have like a computer. This was my planning. Can you see? Like, just with colors and just actually incredible and programs like this just written like it's funny, but if you look at it, I can still. That's incredible, actually. This is like I think 30 years ago or so. Yeah, this is definitely 30 years ago, and I can still almost remember. I have a very poor memory. That's what my wife says, but I can remember sets, times, the athletes that you were working with at that point in time. It's so ingrained in like, and that's again comes with the experience and I think the enjoyment. I don't know. It's.
I think it is when you are passionate in something. I had that talk with my assistant this morning, Sonia, and we're talking about that and. She was telling me, oh, how can you remember all those numbers and all those stuff? But when you are so passionate, it's quite normal to keep that in mind. I mean, I'm very bad in math, but I'm very good in math in stuff that I love. So for swimming, split, stroke rates, stroke counts, I know them by heart. Like even a swimmer that I had 10 years ago or 15 years ago, I still remember how many strokes they do in the first 50, in the second 50, and on and on and on. That's connected with passion, I think. Big time. We are going to the end and I have still a few stuff to ask you, but I want to jump on and ask you a couple of advice. I'm a coach today, not today, since many years. I'm a head coach. I have more responsibility. I'm coming out the World Championship, which was my first big world meet. It was in Abu Dhabi. It wasn't the same. Short course world are different, and I'm trying to aim at Paris 2024. That's the goal. If we fail, we fail, but that's what you want to try to aim at.
Of course.
I want to know, if you had, and you know me a little bit because I know you observe. So, and we talk, we share a little bit as well. And I want to know that, and there is Swimming Canada made me a huge gift. I think it's a gift. I think it's something very precious for me. It's going to count in the next months or year to associate myself a little bit more with Tom V, like we talked about him before.
Yes.
And I don't want to misinterpreting his name, but yeah, we say Tom van den Bogarden. So
Tom van den Bogarden. Yeah, he's from Belgium. He actually has a very similar name to mine, actually. Verhaeren van den Bogarden. So that's yeah, it's from the same region, so to speak.
And he's a physiologist, and yes. He brought a lot in Australia, I think.
Yes.
Give you a
you know, the good thing with him is physiologist sounds like scientist, and he understands the science and everything. But what I really love about him, you know, you're looking for physiologists who can actually translate the science for you, who can work with you as a coach, you know, like, and in Australia, I saw it as well. Sometimes he was more like an assistant coach than a scientist, but always with the science background. So he has made a massive impact in Australia. You know, he worked with the best programs, Michael Ball, Richard Scarce, you know, like the Bond University. So he's had an incredible impact.
I'm looking really forward to associate my work with him. It's going to be, I think, a big plus. And you know, already implement put in place already in some of my set in those 3-4 weeks stuff that we exchange outward and before in some set, and I think it's going to grow and give me a better edge in what I do in my way of coaching, because I have my philosophy. I don't want to change it too much. It's going to grow and evolve, but this kind of input will help me to do it a little bit better and better and better and better and better. If you had any good advice to give me, knowing me a little bit from what you've seen, from what we share, what kind of advice could you give me?
Well, if I'm hearing you talk and I see you work, you're saying a very important thing. And my advice would be stick to it. Is like, I have my philosophy and I allow it to grow. What I've seen in the past sometimes is that if coaches started doubting their own philosophy or approach, and they suddenly change to something completely different, the problem with that is it's not their own. So they do this because they think it's a better system or it's better, like, and I think personally, I don't believe in that. You know, I'm not asking any coach to coach and train or plan like me, because every coach you work with is unique as well. They all have their own principles and philosophy. So that would be my advice, is like, stick indeed to that philosophy, but have this open mind. And then within your own framework, within your own philosophy, you think like, I can use this. This is an element that improves my program. It doesn't necessarily throw it upside down and change it completely, because I've rarely seen that approach. It becomes too artificial, and the coaches themselves as well, they lack experience because it's not theirs. That doesn't really work. So that would be my advice.
Thank you very much. And you know, I talk about personality as well a lot, and I want to stick to who I am, and that's to me the most, like, as important as my philosophy. I mean, the philosophy is part of it, of course, but as soon as I will feel that I'm not really who I am, you know, we start to at a certain age, you start to know really more and more about you and who you are and how you evolve, and that to me count a lot. I don't want to change too much. I want to enjoy, be happy on deck. Like when we met in Cannes, I didn't share that with you, but every day I was so happy. You know, I work so hard. I'm not going to get emotional a little bit. I don't want to get into much emotion. But for many, many years, I worked so hard to be where I am, and I enjoyed the process in Cannes. Like, I was coaching to me, like, oh, the level of creativity was awesome. Being able to share with the Japanese, I met Dr. Shimo, I met Masa, the Yui Olympic champion 200 400 AM coach there. We're exchanging so much. We had so much fun, you know, and we're still in contact. And it was big for me. And I want more, you know, I want more. And I feel very, very blessed. But every little moment I enjoyed. And I feel like we have to really, 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 really enjoy each little piece of it, because those moments are precious. We are building ourselves in those moments. I don't want to be too serious, like you say, and we are serious, but I want to keep that vibes of happiness and embracing the moment, because
let me tell you something. Like, I've worked 15 years with Peter, and he's still a good friend. Like, we see each other regularly, and we never talk about medals. Still not. Of course, he knows what he's done, an Olympic champion and a world record. We never talk about that. What we do talk about is the great time we had at a training camp there, or at a meet there, or just being together somewhere. And I have exactly the same with Ranomi, with other swimmers that I've coached. If you see them again, it's, so indeed, it's creating these experiences together with hopefully a great result. But let's park the result. It is really about these experiences, because you will take those experiences with you for the rest of your life. And that medal is a result, which is great. It's to celebrate. But it always strikes me that you don't talk about these medals. You talk about what you share together,
the experiences,
and the fun you had, and also the ups, but also the downs. That was a difficult time. That's an experience too.
Yeah, that's going through what I went through. I'm going through with Marie-Sophie, and out of this story that she went through in Budapest, I'm trying to support her the best. And as I said to you off, it's something that we are going to try to use, and it's part, as I said, of the journey. Unfortunately, some bad moment, good moment are going to happen, but at the end, the resiliency level, the willingness, the love for swimming will be the best, I think.
But what great, of course, it's not great what happened to her, but it's indeed like one of these experiences that she hopefully is able to use in the rest of her life. I'm not just talking about her career, but also in the rest of her life, because unfortunately these days everything is on social media, and people have an opinion, and people have this and that. And to be resilient to that, and to deal with that, to stay true to yourself, and come back from that. That will be the experience that you are creating together here. Things do happen in our lives, and fortunately this did end well, because hopefully she doesn't have health effects or things like that. And then you have to find indeed the resilience to give it a place and say, well, this happened, I've learned from it, or whatever, and move on. And sport is amazing, actually. And then having a coach in life like yourself who can help you with that. Not everybody's so fortunate. If this happens to just people who don't do sports, because unfortunately these things happen in life sometimes, then you don't have a coach to talk to. Normally, hopefully your parents or friends or whatever. But in this case, you have your sport and people who really can support you. So now, first of all, I hope she's doing well. But I think if you look back to this event in a few years, you think well, we found a way to deal with it, and maybe even, hopefully, we've learned so much from it that it actually made us stronger.
Yeah, exactly. And what struck me is lots of people came to me and asked about Commonwealth Games. Is she going to go? Is she going to do? She never mentioned that she will not go. Never.
Why not?
Exactly.
What is
for her and for us, it's normal. We never had that talk. But outside of it, people came to us, and
it's weird because unfortunately, these things these days, when young kids go out, I have a son who's 18, they go out, well, as we would say, shit happens, and unfortunately, it is the case. But when you're an elite athlete and you maybe have 1 or 2 parties a year, and this happens, it's terrible. But life goes on, and if you can find a way to give this a place to deal with it, also with the attention, well, why would you even consider not going to a Commonwealth Games because of this? It's life, and I actually admire her for being so open about it. She doesn't have to, huh?
Yeah, thank you very much for your word. I'm very, very, very proud of what she did, and I hope she will be able to move on the best, and I will support her my best on that. And that's my, that's a coaching athlete relationship. I think that's our role as well, to be there for them when they need. And I will not force anything. She know I'm open, and like this morning we had an amazing set again. Like she's still doing like the level, and it's my role to remind her, wow, it's exceptional what you are doing. Like this is very, very good, and like reinforce her ability and herself in the swimmer than she is. She's just doing exceptional. Like you said first, what we do is exceptional. It's such a few people in the world who are doing this kind of thing. I have 2 more questions and I'm done. The last question, the question first was from Nicolas Azeri, the French, he's a French French, but he's a technical director of Quebec. And he wanted me to ask you, how can we input in the swimming world from the high performance level? How can we input major things from this level to the junior and age group level in a day-to-day basic? What could you give her in a few words about that?
Well, I think I have, of course, like you have an opinion about everything, but I'm pretty outspoken about this. I think the most important is to realize that talent development is not high performance. And I'm saying that because sometimes I think we treat young kids like mini Olympians. They do the same meets, they do the same, training that looks like it. We apply the same pressures sometimes. And I think because they're younger, let's say we're talking here between maybe 12 to 18-year-olds or 12 to 16-year-olds. I think as a coach, development talent coach, you need to have in the back of your mind, this is the end game. The Olympics is the end game. But how do I get there? And then I like to compare it always with going to school. What you do in kindergarten and what you do in college, and everything in between, and then maybe to university is different. Like you learn different things. And I think first and foremost, talent coaches need to be good educators. Of course, they need to understand physiology technically and things like that. But what we really see is where future top athletes make the difference is their attitude, the talent they have, otherwise you don't get into that position. But it's the attitude, the resilience we spoke about. How do you deal with ups and downs in your career and everything? And I think if you have good teachers for that, it creates an incredible platform for then the future high performance coaches to build on that. And they cannot do without that platform. So I think my message from the elite world to the talent development is actually always, it's a different job, as important, or probably even more important, because you're building the foundation for future champions. But don't treat them like mini Olympians, because their brains, their bodies it needs to be developed, and it needs to be developed in a different way.
I really love your answer. Thank you, Jacco. When I start to coach, I used to look at the size, the talent, the different abilities that swimmer could have. And you could see that, okay, wow, if she train or if he train this way, it's going to be amazing there and amazing there. But it's not everyone who is done for that. It's not everyone who is done to train every day, to deal with ups and downs like athletes does and people in life, the way in the high performance level. That's a long process. What I'm looking at now when I see younger swimmers, I don't even look at, of course you do look at how their body is, how they look, how they swim and everything. But the most important for me today is what they have in their eyes, if they really, truly love it. And I think that when they love it, then they make it possible to reach what we think we could. But as you say, we should not jump over the step, like respect the process, like raising your kids. Today is writing this way, in 10 years, you're going to write another way. And you can see probably a potential, and we have to respect every little step of it. And keeping, as we said, and as you said, the global view all the time is, I think, something very, 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 very important. I wanted to ask you another question, but I think it's a great way to end this show today. I'd like to thank you for your time. You know, Jacco, I really embraced it. It was really, really, really fun for me. I hope you had a good time. You know,
absolutely.
I'm going to share that very soon. I'm going to try actually to share it today if I can do the video and everything onto it. I will put it on YouTube today if I can. If I cannot, it will be available pretty soon. But Jacco, thank you so much. You know, I might ask you for another one soon. You know, like I think that we have so much to share, and you have so much to share and give to other people who love what we do and we love what you do. That would be great to do again. But Jacco, thank you very, very much. You know, I'm very, very happy. Yeah, I give you the mic to end this show. Thank you so much, Jacco.
Well, thanks for the opportunity. I loved it too, you know, and I've seen your passion in Canet, working with these athletes and what's coming now. So I want to wish you first and foremost all the best with all your swimmers. Of course, we're going to watch Com Games as well, and I hope we meet soon, and I think we will.
Thank you very much, Jacco. This was All the Talk, episode 61. Thank you. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to comment anything you want, and enjoy this one. I hope you enjoy this one, and I hope you will enjoy some more. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.